Hello and welcome. I'm Cynthia Alice Anderson, and for the past 8 years, it has been my absolute joy to share these conversations and spiritual practices with listeners around the world. Right now, we're in the middle of our $9,000 in 90 days campaign to help keep these messages freely available for everyone who needs them. If our channel has brought you encouragement or peace, I invite you now to help carry it forward with a gift of any amount. You can learn more and donate using the link in the show description. And now, let's begin. All right, welcome to Unity of Daytona Beach. My name is Reverend Cynthia Alice. I'm the senior minister and spiritual leader. It is always my pleasure, honor, and joy to welcome you. So we have so many things to be happy and excited about today. Dear friend and colleague, Lorna, my friend, Lorna Owens is here. Thank you so much, Lorna.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Ooh. Good morning. Good morning, I almost said Unity on the Bay. That's my old church. Good morning, Unity of Daytona. It is, Reverend Cynthia, it's wonderful to be here, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm here to talk about a simple concept. It's really not that complicated, and it's one. And the power of one. One courage, one life, one decision. So I'm a storyteller, so let me start there. I grew up in Jamaica, and when I was 12, I said to my mother, I wanted to be a lawyer, and she said lawyers did not go to heaven. And the jury is still out on that. So I chose a heaven-worthy profession, and that was nursing. So I studied nursing in Jamaica, went to England, studied midwifery, came to America, and went to law school, University of Florida. Go Gators. There you go. I don't believe I told you thanks, and now you're from some school that we don't get along with, because University of Florida, we don't get along with anybody, right? So that sort of thing. So and then I went to law school, opened my practice, and got burnt out, and that's for another lecture and stuff like that. And then, wandered around the world, had to sell my Jaguar, looking under the bed for a quarter, but God was always there, because there was a holy knowing in my gut. The funny thing is that when I was broke, I was very happy. I don't understand the correlation, but I always knew. Right? And sometimes we have that knowing. Externally, it looks completely different, but you have a holy knowing in your gut, and that's what you want to hold on to.
Amen.
So, thank you. So I'm in Miami Beach overlooking the water. I live in a little condo there, and going through my legal files, and CNN is on, 60 Minutes on the background, and then something struck my attention. And it said, it was Anderson Cooper, and it said, war and women, rape as a weapon of war. And I'm like, whoa. And it told the story of over 2 million women being raped in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And I said to myself, how comes I didn't know? How comes the world isn't talking about this? And so I couldn't let it go. I remember I started crying, and I said, why isn't anybody doing anything about it? And a voice said, it's you. Now, I should have said to the voice, find somebody else. Because next morning, I called Harvard because there was a Dr. Van Houston, and they were in that video. And he's an emergency room doctor, and he said, I am busy. Here's the number. Call my wife at home, right? Fast forward, I didn't go to the Congo with Harvard because a woman called me and said, I hear you've been talking about the Congo. I'm from the Congo. I can take you and show you everything you need to know. And 6 weeks later, I was landing in Kigali, Rwanda's capital, meeting a priest there where my friend and I would stay overnight at a monastery, and next day he would drive us into Congo. And next morning we get up, we drive over Rwanda, beautiful country. They've rebuilt their country back from the genocide, and they don't want to talk about it because they've moved on. And we get to go to Congo, a place called Goma. It's in the news again. And first, I really understood what the United States meant when it said, don't go to that country, right? Because I entered in the middle of a civil war. There were tanks everywhere, and it looked even more horrific because there had been a volcano and there was these big boulders in the streets and all like that, and people with machine guns and everything. And my friend who was with me, this colleague of mine, she said, I bought more life insurance. And I'm like, not now, right? That sort of thing. But, when I decided to go, when a thing moves you, when it speaks to you, you go. I didn't ask why. I didn't know to ask why, how, where, or whatever. I just know that I had to go make a difference. And I just had to see the women. I just had to go hear their story. I just wanted to, I don't know what I wanted, but I ended up sitting with the women who'd been raped. And I heard their story, and I told them that I would tell you their story. I was just one person. I didn't have a government behind me. I didn't have an army behind me. And yes, there were times I should have had an army behind me, because the places where I went, the only reason why I'm standing with you is because I was protected by a mighty force, right? Because there was war everywhere. And we are talking about rebel soldiers, the ones you hear about in the news, M23 and all like that. I walked among them. Now that might not be, as for an easier assignment, right? Don't take on that assignment. You have to go to a war-torn country. But when I was there with the women, and when I was walking among the rebels, and when we were taken in for questioning by the United Nations, because they couldn't figure how we were there. Because one morning, our doctors said we had to go way up into the mountain areas where the rapes are taking place. And it's in a place called Moinga. And we had to change drivers and everything because we had to use people that are from that area. This is like not a joke. This is not a day in the park. This is real serious stuff. And as we go up and up, we round the corner and I see women in beautiful clothes, maybe 300 or so of them. And I said to my doctors, because I didn't have a concept, and I said, is this a market or a fair? And he said, no, they're here for you. And I lost it. I started crying because I knew that they had walked maybe 2 days. And I'm like, who are these people that would walk 2 days to come see a stranger? And the reason why they had chosen that spot is because many years ago, it's the story got to tell it. Many years ago, 13 people were buried alive. They were put in a vat of hot water and buried alive. And so we were there to honor and to pay reverence and to come to that energy that evil exists, but we can do our part. So I talked to them and I promised them, tell the story. And the United Nations sent people to come take us to come talk to them. And when I got there, the commander, he was like looking in a book to figure out who sent us. He's kind of are you Oprah Winfrey or whatever? And I'm like, no, don't look in the book. Nobody sent me. I just came, right? So he offered me some lemonade and all like that. And we talked a little bit. He was from Pakistan. So we talked a little bit about cricket, just trying to bring the temperature down, that sort of thing. And he advised that we didn't go any further because it was too dangerous. So we turned around. And we understood why he was so nervous, because as we came back down off the mountain, there were 6 dead bodies on the ground. And what had happened was that there was a massacre on the village that night. And they couldn't understand how these women from the villages where some of this happened arrived at that spot that quickly. So they felt there was going to be trouble. And on top of it, they're told, Commander, there are some Americans among them, which happened to be me, right? So you know, but I couldn't do anything about the rapes, right? Clearly, it was just too more complicated. But I knew because I was a midwife, I could do something, because the fact is that maternal infant mortality is quite high. Every 92nd, a woman dies from complication of pregnancy that can be avoided. And most of those deaths happen in sub-Saharan Africa. So I came back and I called University of Miami, and somebody, a secretary, and up to this day, nobody knew who told me this, but somebody told me and gave me some names. They said Dr. Mary Jo O'Sullivan, Nahida Shatora, and a medical student called Rumsky. I called Dr. O, and she said, oh, I'll call you back. She was in Jamaica. She's an old Irish doctor, tough as nails. And then she gets to Miami International Airport, she called me. By that time, I had looked her up, and now she's a rock star. And I'm like, I'm nervous because I'm going to ask somebody I'd never met, can you go to the Congo of all places with me, right? And I said, Dr. O, I kind of, and she's like, yes. And I said, why did you say yes? When I finally met her, we had lunch at the Ritz-Carlton. I said, why did you say yes? She said, because when I retired, I asked God to use me. And I didn't say in the continental USA, so I had to go. So number one, ask God to use you, but kind of negotiate the terms, right? So we, Dr. O and Nahida Shato, everybody said yes. And they asked me, how do you get to me? And I say, some lady, and nobody knows who I'm talking about. That's an angel. That is an angel. And these doctors and we've trained the length and breadth of the Congo, and they came to be of service. You see, when God called you to do a thing, God will equip me. I didn't know anybody, right? First of all, I didn't even know what country was the Congo. Because you're perhaps asking the same thing too. Which is the DR Congo? It used to be Zaire. I come from Jamaica. That's why I know it as. And I remember it because that's where Muhammad Ali did. Remember the Rumble of the Jungle? That is the same country. So I had to look up the country, and then I had to read up the country, right? And I realized that this is a significant part of the world. And so the details, when God called you, the details is none of your business. You just have to say, yes, Lord, yes, yes. You just have to say, yes, Lord, right? And the way will make clear, because we did so much good in the Congo, and we went way up into the mountains, and we saw traditional birth attendants. They're the ones who do the delivery. They've never been trained. They can't read and write, but we worked with them. And they were delivering women on the bare ground in the rainforest on the ground. And for years, we made thousands of clean birthing kits and sent to the Congo. And what was in that? We did it in churches all over Miami. We even did it, Rotary in Gainesville did 1,000 at one point. And what was in it? A Ziploc bag, cord tie, razor blade, soap, gloves, and we used disposable biodegradable garbage bag, because that we would put on the surface, became a clean surface. Those of you who work in hospital, this is not surgical. We're just trying to create a clean surface, right? How these women have not all died and their children have not died, I don't know. God has a way. Their immunity took care. They adapted. And that we sent thousands to these women to help save lives, and we would pack them. And now our mission has changed. What we do, we train midwives, because we realize that every woman should be delivered by a trained birth attendant. So when you purchase my products or whatever, 15% goes to train midwives in Ghana, and we give a 4-year scholarship. But the world is filled with people who we could look to the power of one. Because in the story that Anderson Cooper told, he told the story of Dr. Dennis McQuakey. He's at the Panzi Hospital. You can look it up, Panzi Hospital. And he was doing the fistula repair for the women because when they were raped, people used guns and knives and sticks or whatever, and they're all torn up inside, right? And he was repairing them as fast as possible. There is a play called Ruined, which tells the story of the women who've been raped. And when you're raped, you're ruined. You're redeemed as ruined, and you're put out from your village, from your family, for your husband and your children. And he was repairing them. And I remember a story Dennis told. He said he repaired, it took months to repair this woman, right? And she eventually went back to the village and she was raped again. And he had no more tissues to repair her. And that really stood with me. And I remember saying to my doctors, I would just love to meet this gentle giant that brought me to the Congo, who doesn't know me, but he brought me to the Congo. So one day I was there and the doctors were saying, oh, we had to go to this restaurant and we had to be there at like 7 o'clock. We're never late, but they're like, we have to be there like at 7 o'clock. And they wanted me to sit in a position, which is a position facing the door. And there walked in Dr. McQuakey. And he said to me, I hear you're here. I wanted to come and say hello. I don't have a lot of time, but I still wanted to say hello. And to me, I thought that was a blessing for me to come to face with that one man who changed my life. And over the years, when I would go back, he'd say the same thing. And every time it was always that restaurant, and the international press, they were always there. And he would get up from them and he'd always come to me and says, you're back. Because it's a place where you go, you promise to be back and you want to be back, but it's too much. So that's him. He eventually won the Nobel Peace Prize. I think of Wangari Maathai, professor who planted trees in Kenya and made Kenya, because he started the Green Belt movement, one woman, one thought, one tree at a time. Now it's a forest, right? I think about Chef Jose Andreas. He doesn't ask, do you need me? He says, who needs to be fed? 1 meal, 10 meals, 1,000 meals, 1 million meals, and many meals. Those are people who said yes. Yes, Lord, yes. To people, you think Jose Andres, he was in Jamaica when the hurricane, well, the first people in there was Jose. A chef in Deland, Chef Hari Pulapatka, said, Lorna, I will help you. It's your country, I will help you. We got together with chefs from Orlando, we did a lunch, a supper, 20,000. We gave 10 to Jose Andreas' people and 10 to Gems, another on the ground. 1 meal, 1 life. That's what we're called to. We're not called to do 2,000s, right? 1 woman brought the regime in the civil war in Liberia to an end. 14 years civil conflict where people were killed, where if you said anything about the government, they cut off your hands, right? 1 woman, and her name, Lema Bowie. And what happened, she kept having this recurring dream to call women to pray. And she kept telling other people to do it because she just wanted a night's sleep. That's all she wanted. And they said, no, the person who gets the dream is the dream carrier. She didn't want to do it because she said, I'm not worthy. So some of you are saying that you're not worthy. And why she thought she was not worthy? She was a single mother living with a man who was not her husband. And she felt she was not worthy. They said, no, you're the dream carrier. And they started Women Dressed in White. You got to watch the movie. It's called Pray the Devil Back to Hell. And they dressed in white, and they would meet every day in this park, Christian women and Muslim women. And it grew from 10 women. They started with $10, and $10 brought a whole regime down, right? And they met every day and they prayed, and 10 became 10,000, and a movement started, just women. And they went to Charles Taylor, who was the president of Liberia, and they said, we are tired. We're tired. The women of Liberia, we're tired. We're tired. I mean, it just breaks my heart. We're tired of our children dying. We're tired. We want peace. And they created a movement and ended up in Ghana at a thing. And the soldiers that was guarding the place said, they called her Captain Lima, the delegates, they are leaving the conference room through the window. And she took her women and they surrounded the building. And when they came and said they were going to arrest her, she said, okay, I will strip and make it easy for you. And she said, I'll start. And they're like, no, don't take off your clothes, right? And peace happened. That's how Liberia, that's how Charles Taylor ended up at the International Court of Justice. He is in prison for 40 years. And that's how Sarah Lee Johnson, the first woman, became president of Liberia. I tell you these things because there's nothing in my mind special about these people, but they answered the power of one. So you here in Daytona, there's something for you to do. One life, one person you must feed, one child you need to help with homework, one person needs to come and help here in the church. One. That's all you need to do. That is your assignment. And you know it. You've been thinking about that one thing for a while. God has laid it on your heart. I am here to tell you today is your day. I'm here to confirm and affirm that that thing that you are going to do, you're going to change the world. Because you are the dream carrier. You have to do it. So may these words resonate with you. And I will tell it's a beautiful life. Because I said yes, I've been to 24 countries around the world. I've spoken with governments, whatever. And I say not to brag, but to say that the journey still continues. I'm not done yet. God is not done with me yet, right? Right? And so, as I close, when you go to South Africa, in the airport, it says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. An African proverb is, in the spirit of Ubuntu, I am because we are. God bless you. Amen. So it's that moment where we turn within. So take a big breath in. Breathe in. And let it out. Breathe in again. And let it out. And I want for you to come to that sacred space, that heart space, knowing that where God is, all is well. And that we're here, each and every one of us, by divine order, by the promise that God will always be with us. So take that moment to center yourself. If it means changing position, do that. Pay attention to where you are at this moment and at this time. Feel the energy of the space. Feel the energy of those around you. Knowing that you're surrounded by love. Knowing that grace surrounds you. And because all is well, you're going to relax your hands. Let that shoulder fall. And if it works for you, let the music take you And let that healing bowl take you to that heart space. Because in that heart space, we have healing. In that heart space, we have love. In that heart space, there's no pain. In that heart space is only forgiveness. Take a journey with me. Let's walk down this beautiful path into a beautiful garden. And you will choose the flowers you meet along the way. You might see a beautiful butterfly as it stops on a milkweed plant and as it drinks from that. And that is you drinking from the well of grace. And as you stop to pick your favorite flower, let it bring a smile to your face, because it means that you are on sacred ground, that you're alive, and that you're well, and that you have the energy to walk, and you have the energy to pick. And so you pick your beautiful flowers. What does it smell like? Take a moment to look at the petals, the color. Is there dew still on your flower? Continue to walk down this path and just observe the foliage, the other beautiful flowers. And if there's water in your garden, hear the trickle, the sound of water, the peace that it brings. And in this garden is this beautiful flute music. So take a moment and sit. And let this music fill you in the garden of your heart. Because in this space, nothing disturbs. In this space, your prayer is answered. In this space, your loved ones are healed. In this space, your finances are healed. In this space lies the answer you've been seeking. So take a moment to receive your blessing. Take a moment as you sit and you look at the flower in your hand. Let it remind you of the promise that you're not alone. Let it remind you that you're surrounded by love. Let it remind you that all is well in the world. And let it remind you that change is coming. And the energy of this world that we live in is shifting. And collectively, we are all a part of that change. So this is your moment to let it all down. And let it be. So take one more breath in, breathe in. Breathe out. And when you can, when you're ready, come back to this place in time. But do not leave the energy. Take it with you. And when you feel comfortable, with the music bringing you back to this space and time, open your eyes knowing that all will be well. And so it is.
As you return to your day, may you move with a little more ease, a little more awareness, and a deeper trust in the good that is already unfolding. Blessings on the journey.
Dear friend, thank you for spending time with me today. For the past 8 years, Experience of the Soul has been made possible by listeners like you. Right now, we're in the middle of our $9,000 in 90 days campaign, and every gift, no matter the amount or size, helps us continue creating these conversations and keeping them freely available for people around the world. If you'd like to support that mission, you'll find a donation link in the show description. I thank you in advance, and blessings on the journey.